Hey everybody, it's Sean and Trey with reactions to the classics. Before we get started today, we just wanted to invite you to take a look at our Patreon page where we have all kinds of reward tiers, anywhere from reacting to an entire album to songs, and to support us for as little as $1 a month. It really helps us out.
And you can also check out our Facebook and Discord groups down below. Got a great community of people who love music. And all that to say, y'all, let's get to today's video. What's happening, everybody? Trey here, joined again by my dad, Sean. And today we are up to another Badfinger record, this time straight up. We did their previous album, again, for our supporter, Matthew Davis. So thank you, Matthew.
Thank you, Matthew,
for this suggestion, and let's just kind of dive in. It's got an interesting little backstory.
It definitely does. It's the third studio album by Badfingers, released in December of '71 in the US, February '72 in the UK. Went to 31 in the US, didn't even chart in the UK. Wasn't really thought of well by critics initially. Now it gets much more favorable reviews. The interesting story, Trey, is it took 9 months to make this album. They go in the studio with Geoff Emerick, they record 12 songs, they're rushed, they gotta leave. Apple Records, their record label, doesn't like it. They shelve all the songs, and on comes George Harrison. George comes in, re-records 6 of those 12 songs that they did with Emerick. Then George, who they got along with really well, he jumps in on a couple of the songs. We'll talk about that down the road here. George gets called away for the concert for Bangladesh. So he actually pulls Badfinger on with him. They go to that with him as well, but he can't finish the album. Todd Rundgren approached Harrison in New York and said, hey, I really like these guys, let me jump in. So Rundgren comes in, does this in like 2 weeks, records a bunch of stuff, does the final mix, says that Harrison didn't mix any of it, but he's upset because Harrison takes co-credit for all of it. And that's kind of how we come to the album, Trey. Now, the boys did say how much they really liked working with Harrison and how much they really didn't like working with Rundgren.
That's right.
So
that he was pretty demanding and
very demanding. So that kind of sets up this album. That's going to take us to the first track, Take It All. It was Ham's reflection on performing at the concert for Bangladesh. It's not bad for me, Trey. It has decent harmonies. What'd you think?
Yeah, I thought this was one of Ham's highlights because he not only wrote the song and sung it, he has on piano, and there's a nice organ interlude about midway through there. It was a solid uplifting track, noting that any day the sun might shine on you, and then later on they progress well. And I like the lyrical progression because it starts off saying any day the sun could shine on you, and later it's any day the sun will shine on you. I took it as taking the good with the bad, and
that's a good point.
Looking forward to the better days that'll hopefully come. So I thought we started off on a solid note and then transitioned into one of my favorite tracks on the record, Baby Blue, the only track I was familiar with on here because it was used in the closing scene of, I think, the greatest TV show of all time, Breaking Bad.
Yeah, and he wrote it to Dixie Armstrong, Ham did, a woman that he dated during their U.S. tour. It actually went to 14 in the US. Now at this time, there's chaos going on in the Apple Records, especially in the UK version. They actually put everything out that this was going to be a single, and then they never released it. Whereas the US arm actually remixed it, made it sound better, put a nice picture sleeve on for the single so it would sell better, and obviously, as I said, it went to number 14. So this shows you what's going on as Apple Records is about to deteriorate totally.
Yeah, just the crumble of it. And I enjoyed the fuzzy guitar that it put, it really forced the listener to pay attention.
Yeah, the guitar and the drumming was excellent as well.
As well as the harmonies and the bridge. The harmonies here were a highlight kind of throughout the record, I thought, more so than on the previous record.
Yeah, and this is about a man who ruins his relationship with a woman by leaving her and not coming back to her in time. He realizes his mistake of letting her go. Even though he attempts to bring her back with the sweet words, his Dixie dear proceeds to leave him either way, even though she still loves him. Because, Trey, oftentimes, even if someone still loves you, that woman scorn, that cliche is there for a reason. So even though she still loves him, he just did a little too much and he can't get her back, and he realizes it. So I think that's part of the emotion of the song. Now, he wrote it about Dixie. I don't know if all of it's true. Maybe that is true, and that's why it's such a good, emotional, heartfelt track. And that takes us to Money.
And again, there were triple harmonies in here from Moland, Ham and Evans, and I like the fact that it noted like money has some good qualities to you. It can get you out of some trouble, but it can also steal your girl because somebody else coming in with more money.
Yeah,
and
always the case, right?
I just enjoyed the guitar riff and thought it was a nice pop song.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I don't have much to add to it. That's going to take us to Flying. This one starts out differently instrumentally, Trace. I like that. The first 30 seconds only has the piano.
Yeah, because it transitions right from Money into this.
And it has a higher octave on the voice. It's just a little bit different. It's a shorter song, about 2.5 minutes long.
Yeah, I thought it was solid, if a bit lyrically sparse.
Very lyrically
One of the
sparse.
ones that is a bit more forgettable, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's going to take us to I Die, Babe. And Harrison actually played the electric and the acoustic on this one, so he jumped in to help out. This one is pretty good lyrically. I thought lyrically this one was a step up from a lot of them in that he just tells her all the ways she's changed his life. He was like this, now he's turned into this, and he'd die if she ever left.
Yeah, it had that signature Harrison sound to it, and the groove was awesome too, just was propulsive throughout the entire song, and I just thought it was a nice, quick-hitting, catchy pop tune.
And now we're going to finish out the A-side with Name of the Game. Supposed to be the lead single. George Harrison pushed for that to happen. It just didn't. I thought this is over 5 minutes long. I thought it was really good. Great instrumentally. Had the best arrangement and production of any song on the A-side, I thought.
Yeah, and here we have a guy we presume's like a rock star talking to a railway master at the start, and the railway master says, well, I'm not a star. Don't think my protest could do much good, so he just locks his feelings up and kind of go into just like the world and the chaos of it and how we all eventually are going to die, because then in the third verse we now have the rock star looking up at the sun and just seeing how kind of insignificant he is, and then he knows, well, I'm not a star type of deal.
Exactly.
This time the sun. So I like the little kind of twist there at the end. So I like you, I thought the arrangement was fantastic and a good way to end this A-side.
Yeah, great harmonies and piano on there as well. We're going to start off the B-side with Suitcase. This one has Klaus Vorman coming in here playing the electric piano and Leon Russell on the guitar, so we're coming in with some heavy hitters to start this B-side.
Oh yeah, I thought Leon was fantastic on this, and really the song's about not wanting to get caught up in that rat race of life. This wasn't particularly a standout per se, but I thought it was still pretty solid just due to that guitar work that was in there. And then we move on to the next tune,
Sweet Tuesday Morning.
And this one is a more softer ballad type of tune.
Yeah.
It was one of my favorites actually on the entire record. I thought the vocal performances were fantastic.
Very stripped back, acoustic. See, I actually wasn't too crazy about the vocal performance, so that's interesting. We differ on that one.
Yeah, and I really liked the line, "In a brightness I can feel surround me. It's the first time I felt it in years." So we have this guy who's just really infatuated with this girl, and when he's with her, the troubles of life kind of melt away. And it's a tried and true topic, but we also had a 12-string guitar in here. We had an accordion, so I just thought the mix of the instrumentation as well as the lyrics made it a standout on there.
That's going to take us to Day After Day, which is their highest charting single ever. It's 4 in the US, 10 in the UK. Harrison's on here playing the slide guitar, and Leon Russell's on the piano. This one for me was fantastic. It was my favorite track on the entire album. What'd you think of it?
Yeah, I thought it was not as good as Sweet Tuesday, but I still thought it was pretty darn solid, especially with that expert slide guitar by Harrison in there. And again, we had a little twist in wordplay, just like we had on Take It All. He says, a guy's longing for a girl looking out, he says, of his lonely room, and eventually this turns to looking out of my lonely gloom. So just little switches in the songwriting there. I thought it was a solid track.
That takes us to Sometimes. Great guitars here. This is the one on the album that I know these guys were compared to being Beatles sounding all the time. This was a song that I really thought sounded Beatlesque.
Yeah, I really thought the melody and instrumental structure was like She's a Woman. So as soon as I started hearing it, I was like, you know what, this definitely. So that's interesting.
That's a great
interesting that you note that about the Beatles comparison, because I'm right there with you. A lot of the times, those harmonies, you can tell that Beatles influence was heavy for these guys, but here I do think it reaches a climax, and for that reasons, I thought it was a fantastic tune here. I was really impressed just with the harmonies throughout this record.
I was as well. That takes us to Perfection. Thought this one had good lyrics, basically talking about we should talk it out and love one another. Even talks in the lyrics, not use a gun or knife to settle things. A lot more lyrically here than on a lot of the other songs. It's over 5 minutes long. Has some instrumentation in there that I couldn't quite pick out what it was. Kind of sounded like a comb almost, or different.
Yeah, there was a harmonica in there as well. We had another 12-string guitar utilized, and here I thought it was one of the more catchy melodies.
Agreed.
I enjoyed that, and yeah, just the story and the message lyrically as well. Just there ain't a perfect man, and thus we gotta kind of let our guard down and love each other and just deal with the shortcomings of everyone we come across. So I thought that was pretty solid as we start to wind down the record and then move into the closing track.
It's Over, so a perfect name for a closing track. This was Evans' tribute to the band's American fans. You can tell, and he's packing his bags. It's over. He's heading home. I thought it was a pretty good track. I thought the arrangement was really well done.
Yeah, it had a groovy guitar solo in there that stood out for me. And
nice harmonies.
Yeah, like you said, it was an apropos title to end off this record, and that'll take us to our favorite tracks. For me, it's going to be Baby Blue, Perfection, and Sweet Tuesday Morning.
Baby Blue and Day After Day, Trey. So now we get to the part for our overall grade. What do you give this one?
I definitely like this more than No Dice.
I did too.
I thought the instrumentation was a big improvement. Maybe big's too much of an overstatement, but I thought it was an improvement on here with the nice contributions from Leon Russell and Harrison, as well as those harmonies going all the way up to triple harmonies at certain points. I just thought was awesome, and so all in all, I thought it was a very good record. I'm going to 7.75.
Wow. Pretty much agree with everything you said, and you kind of stole all my comments. I mean, you didn't steal them, you didn't know what they were going to be, but I'm also at a 7.75 on this, and I did enjoy it much more than their previous outing as well.
Let us know what you think of Straight Up in the comments below. Thanks again, Matthew, for the support, man.
Thank you, brother.
And another very good record as we keep on going through these great 70s bands.
Exactly,
and
man.
Appreciate the research as always. Be sure to give us a big thumbs up, as well as hit that big red subscribe button. We upload videos every single day, so I'm sure there's something here for everybody. And until next time, y'all, thank you so much for watching. Happy listening, my friends, and we will see ya.